Hello, Radiant Leo. Pause for just 4 seconds and ask yourself this. What if your entire financial destiny is about to shift, and the universe is giving you 6 exact numbers to unlock it? This isn't just a lucky guess. You didn't click on this video by accident. You were called here. And what you're about to hear over the next few minutes could be the divine pattern your soul has been waiting for. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where every message is crafted not just for your zodiac sign, but for the energy you're evolving into. And this is not just a horoscope reading. This is a spiritual transmission, uniquely designed for Leo, from May 8th to May 11th, a cosmic window where jackpot energy is no longer hiding, it's activated and aligning with you now. Right now, the universe is slowing down just enough to allow you, Leo, to walk through a powerful portal. The 6 numbers you're about to hear are not random. They are codes, numerical keys, that match your internal rhythm. If you align with them, they can unlock not just wealth, but deep inner confirmation that you're walking the right path. You are ruled by the sun, Leo, the ultimate source of light and power. But sometimes, even the brightest light dims under the weight of expectations, doubt, or exhaustion. If you've been feeling like your energy's been scattered lately, or like life keeps asking you to give without receiving, this message is your turning point. And here's the truth: you don't have to do more. You just have to remember who you are and come back to your natural rhythm. When a Leo stops chasing and starts radiating, the world doesn't just respond, it orbits around you. These 6 numbers coming your way aren't just for manifesting money. They're frequencies. Each one will be linked to a specific planetary force, from Venus to Jupiter, and each will bring a lesson, a gift, a shift in your field. By the end of this video, you won't just have lucky numbers. You'll understand how to use their energy with intention, clarity, and strength. So before we dive in, let's take a sacred moment together. Take a breath. Place your hand on your heart. And if you feel it, type this in the comments right now. I am the frequency of wealth. Or just share the angel number you've been seeing. That's how you begin to align your energy. Let me take a second, too, to offer my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every subscription doesn't just support eternal mindfulness, it strengthens our spiritual circle. You are not alone in this journey. You are part of something greater. And Leo, trust me, you're going to want to stay with me until the very end. Because what the universe is revealing for you now is spectacular. This message is about remembrance, realignment, and receiving what you've silently prayed for. So, tell me, was it a fellow Taurus who nudged your soul here? Or was it your own intuition whispering, "This is for you"? Let's find out together. The first number is already waiting for you. As we move into the vibration of the number 3, you might feel a subtle softening, an inner call to return to what brings you joy, not for any outcome, but simply because it lights you up from within. This number carries a frequency of lightness and creative expression, one that doesn't push or demand but rather emerges when your heart is open and your presence is gentle. It is a reminder that when you allow your energy to flow freely, you naturally become magnetic. There is no striving here. No force. Only the gentle unfolding of your essence, expressed in color, texture, rhythm, and tone. Number 3 resonates with the planetary energy of Venus, the celestial body known not only for beauty and romance but for harmony and pleasure. But here's what makes it even more meaningful. This isn't about outer beauty or romantic ideals. This is about cultivating an environment where you feel emotionally safe and creatively alive. When you move in alignment with the energy of Venus, you begin to find your own rhythm of joy. You start decorating your days the way you might decorate a sacred space, with care, softness, and a deep reverence for your own experience. In the tarot, this energy mirrors the Empress. She doesn't chase. She receives. She doesn't command attention, she draws it in effortlessly. Her power is not loud. It is the kind of presence that makes flowers bloom and rivers flow. And this is what the number 3 asks of you now, to stop chasing outcomes and begin nurturing the conditions within yourself that allow abundance to rise naturally. For Leo, this is especially poignant. You are born under the sign of the performer, the creator, the radiant soul. But even the brightest star needs warmth that comes not from external applause, but from the quiet knowing that you are already enough. That's the essence of this moment. To find joy in little things, not to post, not to prove, but to be in full color for your own heart. Maybe it's in the way you pair textures when you get dressed, or the way you prepare a meal that feels like a blessing to your body. Maybe it's writing a thank you card not because it's expected, but because you feel it. This is more than beauty. It's mindfulness in motion. There's a teaching here, one echoed in many paths of inner realization, that joy is not something we earn after discipline, it is the discipline itself. To choose joy when it would be easier to harden. To choose beauty when it would be quicker to ignore. To choose presence in every action, however ordinary, because that presence itself becomes a field of attraction. When we water a plant, we don't command it to grow. We simply offer care, and it grows as it was always meant to. The same goes for your abundance, your relationships, your peace. With the number 3 as your guide, you are being asked to infuse your health, your relationships, and your space with the kind of energy that says, I am already worthy of this beauty. In your meals, this may look like adding vibrant greens, oranges, purples, not as a rule, but as a ritual. In your routines, this could be lighting a candle before bed, stretching in the morning sun, or simply pausing long enough to notice how your breath feels in your chest. In love, too, this number whispers, don't try to impress. Instead, express. The real attraction is never in proving. It's in being deeply at peace with your own presence. When someone sees you loving yourself gently, they don't just see your strength, they feel it. So stay with this rhythm. Notice where you can soften. Ask yourself where creativity wants to return, whether in how you dress, how you speak, or how you simply choose to show up. Because when you create beauty from within, everything around you begins to harmonize in response. Not out of obligation, but because that's what life does when it's invited in with care. As we move from the soft grace of Venus into the swift, shifting current of Mercury, the vibration of number 5 awakens something more dynamic within you. If the previous energy invited you to return to beauty and ease, this one calls you to become aware of your own voice, both spoken and unspoken, and how it shapes your reality. Number 5 is not static. It moves. It evolves. It dances with change and demands presence, not through force, but through the clarity of attention. And here lies a truth many overlook. The way you speak to yourself is the way your life begins to unfold. Mercury governs language, intellect, and the bridge between thought and action. But beneath that, it's really about connection. Connection between your inner dialogue and your outer results. If every word carries a frequency, then every sentence becomes a spell, a declaration, a direction. This is why the energy of number 5 is so powerful for those ready to expand their financial reality, not because it promises sudden gain, but because it encourages conscious creation through clarity of expression. Imagine your thoughts as currents and your words as oars. Where you steer them, even subtly, shifts your entire course. If your mind is clouded with, "I can't," "I'm not enough," or "I never get a break," then your energy field begins to tighten. But when you practice replacing even one of those with, "I'm learning," "I'm open to receiving," or "I am exactly where I need to be," you open doors. Not metaphorical doors, real, tangible ones that begin showing up in your daily experience. In many wisdom traditions, it is said that our suffering often begins in the mind, not in the external world. We construct limitations with language long before reality proves them. So number 5, infused with Mercury's gift, is a gentle challenge to rewire your relationship with communication. Not just how you speak to others, but how you narrate your own life. Your thoughts do not have to be perfectly positive. They only need to be honest and aligned with compassion. This is where the energy of the magician comes in, a tarot archetype that symbolizes potential made real through will and articulation. The magician doesn't wait for the right time. He creates it. He doesn't ask for permission to manifest. He speaks it into being, aligned with his tools, his awareness, and most importantly, his belief that what he holds within can shape what exists outside. This is not arrogance, it is ownership. And so, I encourage you to bring a mindful practice into this energy. Spend 5 minutes each morning and each evening writing down the phrases you catch yourself repeating. You don't have to judge them. Just notice them. Then try replacing one. Shift "I'm behind" into "I'm exactly on time for what's meant for me." Shift "no one sees my worth" into "I'm learning to see my own worth clearly." You don't need to force transformation. You only need to interrupt old patterns with one conscious choice at a time. Even your tone matters. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply care for, because your body, your nervous system, and your spirit are listening. And they respond best to kindness, not commands. The color that supports this energy is turquoise. Not just because it's beautiful, but because it harmonizes the throat and heart chakras, encouraging you to speak from truth with compassion. It also stimulates mental clarity while calming emotional storms, helping you articulate what matters without rushing or overthinking. This part of the journey invites you to be playful with your words, flexible in your thinking, and deliberate with your self-talk. Because you are not just narrating your life, you are directing it. And every word, every pause, every breath of belief has the power to shift your path entirely. As we shift into the energy of number 11, the air grows quieter, like the world is holding its breath for something sacred to emerge. This isn't the kind of energy that pushes forward or reaches outward. Instead, it gently pulls you inward, like the tide drawing you back toward your center. Number 11 is often called a master number, and not because it demands mastery in the external world, but because it calls forth an inner clarity that cannot be taught, only remembered. It speaks in whispers, not declarations. And that is its power. This number carries the vibration of the moon, which governs your inner landscape, emotions, intuition, memory, and the subtle shifts that often go unnoticed by others but feel vast inside you. If Mercury was about the language you speak out loud, and Venus about the beauty you share, the moon is about the language that lives beneath your thoughts, the signals that surface in the body before the mind can explain them. It's the knowing without knowing how you know. The feeling that guides you when logic falls silent. For Leo, a sign ruled by the radiant sun, this can be an unfamiliar realm. You're used to lighting the way, leading with clarity, with presence, with boldness. But now, something softer is being asked of you. Not to dim your light, but to trust what happens in the dark. To walk not with a spotlight ahead of you, but with a lantern beside your heart. Because the truth is, not every answer is found by thinking harder. Some truths only reveal themselves when we become still enough to feel them. The High Priestess, the tarot archetype linked to this energy, teaches exactly that. She does not speak unless it is necessary. She observes. She listens. And in her stillness, she sees clearly. She knows the tides before they rise, the shifts before they come. And this is the invitation for you now, to become more attuned to your internal compass, even when it contradicts the voices outside of you. There is a kind of wisdom that can only be accessed through silence, not silence as absence, but silence as space. The space to ask yourself, what do I need today to feel complete? Try placing your hand on your chest each morning and asking that simple question, not from a place of lack, but from a place of reverence for your own needs. Then listen, not for words, but for sensations. Perhaps it's rest. Or movement. Or choosing ease over effort. That's where real alignment begins, not with external goals, but with internal truth. When it comes to abundance, this inner knowing becomes your greatest asset. Some opportunities don't arrive as clear contracts or grand proposals. They show up as subtle nudges, a conversation that feels meaningful, a person who feels familiar even though you've just met. These moments are not coincidences. They are resonances. And when you learn to trust your emotional response to them, you begin choosing from your intuitive intelligence, not just your strategic mind. Wealth, in this context, is not just about numbers in a bank. It's about resonance, aligning your energy with experiences, people, and decisions that expand you without draining you. It's about saying yes when your whole body feels open and clear, even if your mind isn't sure why. And just as importantly, it's about saying no when something contracts you, even if it looks perfect on the surface. To support this energy, lean into silver tones, colors that reflect the moonlight and help you feel more connected to your intuitive nature. Whether in what you wear or what surrounds you, let these hues remind you that softness is not weakness. That sensitivity is not fragility. It is information. It is guidance. And it is strength, held in stillness. In moments of doubt, instead of rushing for an answer, pause. Breathe. Let the question rest in your chest like a stone in still water. If the answer doesn't come immediately, trust that it's forming underneath the surface, and it will rise in its own time. This is the path of number 11, the quiet mastery of knowing that not all clarity comes from thinking, some comes from feeling, from waiting, and from listening deeply to what is already speaking within you. After tuning into the quiet guidance of intuition and learning to trust the inner rhythms of knowing, you now arrive at a place where movement becomes sacred. Number 14 introduces a grounded yet invigorating shift, one that calls not for more speed, but for conscious momentum. This is not the fire that burns out quickly, but the flame that sustains itself through discipline, presence, and purposeful action. It's here that Mars, the planet of energy, effort, and motivation, enters the picture, not as a force of pressure, but as a companion of progress. And this shift, for you, Leo, can be the key to anchoring abundance into the real world. While many people associate Mars with aggression or intensity, in its highest form, this energy is about aligned action. Mars gives you the will to rise when it would be easier to wait. It fuels the courage to move forward not because everything is certain, but because your intention is clear. When combined with the essence of number 14, it becomes something much deeper, the steady rhythm of transformation. Like a sculptor who returns to the same stone each day, not rushing the outcome, but shaping with presence. This number is also reflected in the Temperance card from the Tarot, a symbol not of extremes, but of mastery in the middle. It reminds us that our power is not in reacting, but in choosing. Not in doing more, but in doing what matters most, again and again, with grace. You don't need to chase 10 things at once. You only need to choose the right thing and stay with it long enough for the results to take root. And so, one of the most supportive practices for this energy is intentional discipline. This doesn't mean overworking or striving until exhaustion. It means setting a clear direction, staying committed, and allowing yourself to build something steady, something that reflects your truth. In your career or financial pursuits, this is the time to pick one area, one project, one intention, and pour your energy into it fully for the next 90 days. Not because you expect overnight success, but because this is how energy compounds, through attention, consistency, and care. Physically, your body is your first vehicle for this momentum. When Mars energy is stuck, you may feel agitated, restless, or drained. That's why gentle movement in the morning, just 10 minutes of dynamic meditation, breath work, or stretching, can completely change the course of your day. This isn't about the perfect workout or productivity hack. It's about choosing to honor your energy field with movement, sending a signal to your nervous system that you are alive, alert, and engaged. Even a few mindful stretches upon waking can help shift stagnant energy and replace it with vitality. The color that amplifies this process is orange-red, a tone that stimulates circulation, motivation, and drive. Whether through clothing, surroundings, or visualization, let this shade remind you that you are not stuck, you are charging forward, even in small ways. And it's often the smallest rituals, done repeatedly, that create the biggest waves. There is also a deeper teaching within this, that true power is quiet. It doesn't need to rush. It doesn't force results. It simply shows up, day after day, like water carving stone, not through intensity, but through persistence. And this is how abundance grows, not as a sudden explosion, but as a current built from every mindful action you take, even when no one is watching. So ask yourself gently, what is one direction I'm ready to commit to, not just in thought, but in action? What practice, what project, what intention can I choose to return to every day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it doesn't feel immediately rewarding? That is where your wealth lives. Not in grand gestures, but in grounded repetition. This isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up with presence. Doing what you said you would do. Aligning your external motion with your internal truth. And when that alignment is there, momentum becomes effortless, and success becomes not a question of if, but of when. After aligning your actions with presence and conscious direction, the energy begins to shift once more, this time into a broader view, where purpose is no longer about the next step, but about the entire path. The appearance of numbers 21 and 29 together is no coincidence. Their pairing speaks to a moment of integration, a deep merging of two cosmic forces: Jupiter, the planet of expansion and bold vision, and Saturn, the planet of structure, responsibility, and enduring wisdom. This combination is rare and powerful. One asks you to dream beyond limits, the other, to build a container strong enough to hold that dream. And when they arrive together, they offer a gift only accessible to those who are ready to rise into maturity, not just in their goals, but in their character. Number 21, aligned with Jupiter, invites growth. It whispers, what if more was available to you, not because you're chasing it, but because you're finally ready to receive it. Jupiter doesn't reward ambition alone. It rewards the kind of vision that expands your impact, not just your status. It asks, how big can you allow your life to become, while still staying rooted in what matters? There's a phrase often spoken in teachings of inner mastery, that we must become the kind of person who can carry what we ask for. Jupiter hears your dreams, but Saturn asks, are you ready to hold them with steadiness? That's where 29 enters, with the grounding presence of Saturn. While Jupiter says yes to possibility, Saturn says, let's build it well. Saturn doesn't block expansion, it refines it. It ensures that what you create is not a castle in the clouds, but a home on solid ground. It teaches through boundaries, through commitment, through the discipline of returning to your core values even when the outer world tempts you with shortcuts. And perhaps that's the real test of this phase, not whether you can dream, but whether you can finish what you've started. In the tarot, these two numbers correspond to the World and the Hermit. The World speaks of culmination, of the end of a journey and the beginning of a new level of being. It represents wholeness, not as perfection, but as integration. Meanwhile, the Hermit carries the lantern of wisdom, lighting only the few steps ahead. He doesn't rush. He reflects. He moves forward not with certainty, but with clarity. This balance, of trusting your vision and honoring your process, is what leads to the kind of success that is not only sustainable, but fulfilling. Now is the time to take everything you've been learning and put it into a shape that supports your future. A clear financial structure can help. Consider mapping out 3 goals: short-term, 30 days, medium-term, 3 months, and long-term, 1 year or more. Each goal is not a pressure point, but a compass, something to orient your energy and choices around. When you make space for both vision and responsibility, something incredible happens. You stop feeling like you're chasing life, and start feeling like you're building it. Emotionally, this energy may surface through relationships as well. If something has recently fallen away, a connection, a partnership, even a dream, it wasn't failure. It was refinement. Saturn doesn't take things from you to punish. It clears the path so what's meant for your next chapter has room to arrive. If someone has exited your life recently, take time to bless the lesson they brought. Not every chapter was meant to continue, but every one of them had a role in shaping who you are now. To stay aligned with this energy, consider integrating deep green and soft gray into your space or clothing. The green connects to Jupiter's openness and generosity, reminding you to stay expansive and hopeful. The gray connects to Saturn's wisdom, reminding you to stay humble, steady, and true. Together, they mirror the dance between reaching and rooting, between striving and surrendering. Ultimately, this is not about being perfect, it's about becoming complete. The world doesn't need more people who chase finish lines. It needs more people who understand what they're truly building. You, Leo, are not being asked to run faster or jump higher. You're being asked to merge your strength with your wisdom, your passion with your patience. And when you do, the foundation you create won't just support your dreams, it will elevate them into something lasting, something real, something deeply worthy of all that you've become. Leo, if you're still here with me, listening to these final words, then something deep within you already knows, a shift is happening. Not the kind that shouts, not the kind that arrives with fanfare, but the quiet, unmistakable kind that begins from within and changes everything. Throughout this journey, we've explored 6 sacred numbers and the universal energies behind them. Venus taught you how beauty begins inside. Mercury reminded you that your words create your world. The moon whispered that your intuition already knows the way. Mars encouraged action without rush. Jupiter opened the gate of expansion. And Saturn, ever wise, asked that you build something worth keeping. But what do all these have in common? You. Not as someone chasing signs, but as someone becoming the sign. The moment you stopped waiting for wealth to appear and began aligning your rhythm with it, your entire frequency shifted. This is not a race anymore. This is a rhythm. Your rhythm. And the universe recognizes it. You don't need to do more. You just need to do what aligns. You don't have to run faster. You only need to trust your pace. Real abundance doesn't answer chaos. It answers clarity. It answers the quiet consistency of someone who shows up not to prove, but to embody. That's who you are becoming now, Leo, not someone who needs to shine to be seen, but someone whose presence is the light itself. And maybe, just maybe, you felt it too. Something subtle, like your breath slowing down as you listen, or a deeper part of you nodding in quiet agreement. If so, I want to ask, what part of you is beginning to feel more grounded? What is softening? What new sense of direction is gently forming inside you? Let that rise. And if you're ready, take a moment to comment below one angel number you've seen recently. Or affirm this with your whole being: I am the magnetic field for prosperity. Let me take a moment to thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being here. Every like, every share, every comment and subscription helps keep this channel, Eternal Mindfulness, alive with meaning. Your presence is not just support, it's a signal. A signal that you're ready to meet yourself in a new way. And trust me, dear Leo, you will want to stay with me all the way through this season, because what the universe is revealing next is nothing short of breathtaking. So as we close this space, I won't tell you to chase anything. Instead, I'll invite you to return to your center. To breathe into it. To treat your goals not as something you must earn, but something that is already aligning with you. Because when your actions come from wholeness, not hurry, abundance doesn't need to be summoned. It stays. It builds. It surrounds you in ways that are both seen and unseen. And in case no one has told you lately, you are doing better than you think. You are more ready than you know. And everything you've been moving through, learning from, and shedding, that was not delay. That was preparation. So keep listening to the rhythm of your heart. Keep honoring your timing. And let this be your final takeaway today. You don't need to search for the light. You are the light. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share this with someone who needs a moment of alignment. Because sometimes, one message at the right time can change the trajectory of a life. Until we meet again, stay steady, stay open, and remember, the universe is not just watching, it's dancing with you.